just trying to apply RSD concepts for so long, approaching people but getting no results, and seeing people who don't even know game do better than me. I guess it made me really suicidal and just wonder like what the hell's wrong with me, and why am I in this situation, and like what could I be doing so wrong? Following the wrong system like really screwed me over for a couple of years. So I think that's something that really harmed me in the end.
Then I followed Todd V and his stuff just didn't work because before I was very suicidal.
Hi, I'm making a video testimonial for John Elite. I'm one of his recent students and I just recently lost my virginity under his training. And I'd like to talk about my experiences and my journey getting here. A little about myself. I'm an Asian American living in a major US city, and before I met John, I was still a virgin in my 20s, and I had a lot of fears and doubts and insecurities. I was getting older and I wasn't seeing any progress on the dating side of things. I hadn't spoken to any women in like years because I was just living at home focusing on work. And even though I had career success, I still felt very lonely in my life. And like there was something deeply wrong with me. So I was watching and reading like a lot of black pill content, things that are talking about like my race, like I'm the wrong race, like I should not be Asian American, I should be white, I should not be like whatever my height is, I should be 6 foot tall, like my jawline's not good enough. I was very insecure and very sad and lonely, very depressed, and I felt like I just wanted things to change, and I felt like I was in this nightmare that just wouldn't go away. And I feel like a lot of people are kind of experiencing that, and you might be experiencing that if you're looking into John's training. So that was kind of the state I was in when I met John. I was very depressed, very desperate, and my reaching out to him was like a last-ditch effort to try to lose my virginity this year. So before meeting John, I tried out RSD stuff for a couple of years, but none of it really worked. Like I tried Todd V stuff especially, and it just didn't help. It helped a little, but I never got any real results off of it. And I was just feeling pretty down, and I was pretty skeptical about any game working. Like if John's stuff didn't work out, I probably would have just gave up on game altogether. Just trying to apply RSD concepts for so long, approaching people but getting no results, and seeing people who don't even know game do better than me. I guess it made me really suicidal and just wonder like what the hell's wrong with me, and why am I in this situation, and like what could I be doing so wrong? Following the wrong system like really screwed me over for a couple of years. So I think that's something that really harmed me in the end. But what stood out to me about John's content is a lot of it reflected what I thought in field. Like I was being too gamey, or I didn't have social skills. A lot of stuff that John says is very accurate about Asian men when they do game. And that's why I really wanted to train under him. So when I wanted to train under him, I was still very skeptical about getting scanned. I never paid for a course or a boot camp before, but I was really desperate, and I was pretty sure that John knew what he was talking about. So I told John my fears, like maybe I'm not good looking enough, maybe I'm not tall enough. And he just made me go through a mindset playlist before I could work with him. And even though he didn't want to work with me, take me on, he took me on after I finished the playlist and said that I could probably finish his training then. So his actual training was very regimented, very tough. I think John comes across as a very unstructured, kind of playful, funny person in his videos. But John is very serious about his training, and he has very high standards for the things that you send him and when you're completing tasks. He has a very, very high standard, which caught me by surprise. The first month is body language. The second month is more social skills. And the third month, you're just going to go out in field. Or at least that's how it was for me. And I was one of the more unteachable cases, just because of my bad mindsets and black pill stuff and everything like that. So overall, like John's training, I don't think I was prepared at all because it was just very rigorous physically. But it was all like worth it because John teaches you those things to drill them down as habits so you can look good in field and so you can get results. John really only cares about getting results in field, to be quite honest. Overall, like John is super professional. He responds to you in a timely manner. He breaks down everything in an easy way for you. Um, he's a very high character, and he expects you to work hard as well. Um, and it's all for the sole purpose of getting you laid, and building this skill and habit that can last you a lifetime. So overall, the training was very tough on me. Um, but later on, when I went out in field, um, I was still having some trouble because I couldn't execute properly, just because of like being being alone, being alone and being in living at home for a long time. It'd been a long time since I'd approached, and I was still having approach anxiety and just like things like that. I was having trouble, and my city's also got a bad rep for people who cold approach, so it was kind of hard. Um, but every interaction, John could figure out where it went wrong, and his mind says that every set can be turned around, which I agree with now. Because every set, even though I thought it was my looks or height, there was something I did wrong, and there was something I could point to that turned it sour. So John is very on point with his observations, and he will do everything he can to help you out. His infield analysis is very in depth, and he can even tell like when the girl is like has positive IOI or really likes you. He's very keen on all these things, and it makes sense because he's like a 5'7" Asian. He doesn't have a lot going for him naturally. He has to learn by skill and by field testing everything. So everything that John really says is really field tested, and he really cares. So after a bit of getting rejections, in my being an unteachable case, I later met this girl, and I just let the skills take over, like what John told me, like the flirting and the escalation, and it sort of just went really smoothly from approach to lay. Everything that John told me was just what I did, and it's sort of crazy because the things that I did, like the girl will comment on now, like my fashion or the way I put my hand on her shoulder, and compliment me on it, and it's all stuff that John recommended. So John is very smart and very tactical, and he's field tested everything. There's nothing really that he teaches that hasn't been field tested. I think that's very valuable as a dating coach because a lot of people are just giving out advice that haven't been field tested, and they're just going off their value. But John really cares, and things were not easy to get the lay either. I had bedroom issues, performance issues. I would just go soft when I put on a condom. And John even had advice for that, and he would tell me what to text and what to do at all points of the conversation. And he was just very helpful the entire time, always in my ear, always trying to get me to lay. Overall, John is a very solid ally to have on your side when you're going through this type of problem. I really can't commend him enough for his help. And overall, like if you had to ask me, John is an excellent dating coach. He really cares about his students, and he just wants to see you succeed. He doesn't really care about spiritual vibration bullshit or meditation or even like your hobbies or anything like that. He just wants to see you get laid. So overall, I can't help but recommend him if you're in a similar situation, like being a virgin in your 20s or being Asian, anything like that. He will help anyone, to be honest, and he cares so much. Even though he's like very rough in his trainings, he does it because he cares about his students, and he delivers so much value on what he provides. And honestly, now when I lay next to this girl and I see she's out of my looks range, and like I'm just so happy, and things are just so much different than they were like a couple months before I trained with him. It's just sort of crazy how things turned around once I met with him. So overall, I can't express how thankful I am to John Elite, and I feel like he's a great choice of dating coach if you're just starting out. And I just wish I'd met him earlier, since I could have closed a deal on some other girls I'd met earlier. So yeah, I wish nothing but the best for John Elite, and anyone who's thinking of potentially working with him. You can't go wrong, and he will definitely take care of you. You're in good hands if you work with him. And one last thing, everyone you meet, and once you train under him, you can get to meet the people in his Facebook group and the inner circle, and almost everyone is like in a similar situation. They've struggled with girls, they're a late bloomer, a virgin, and they're highly motivated, highly positive people. And they're also very helpful when you're going through it. So overall, I think John selects very good people to train with him. And he's himself is very regimented, high character personality. I would say don't let the roughness of his personality turn you off. And if you're Asian, you're definitely making the right choice. And if you're not Asian, like there's no way you can't get results using what he teaches. So overall, yeah, I personally recommend John very heavily, and wish I'd met him earlier. I think that wraps up my testimonial.
Opinions and fair comment based on records in my possession, not medical or legal advice, not a diagnosis. Redacted for privacy, I correct material errors. If you Googled my name, you might see a Reddit review before you Googled my site, John Elite. This isn't a review, they never looked at the course. They started with Elite Access, not the whole Elite Bundle Resurrections. It's meant to turn you off before you meet me and try to turn off 777,000 people on Reddit in their seduction forum. A smear campaign is a planned effort to discredit a person or a group and tarnish their reputation. Psychology Today. Smear campaigns involve manipulation, often the behavior of malignant narcissists and those with NPD or antisocial personality disorders. Patterns, not diagnosis. Psychology Today. Those recruited by the abusers become an entourage known as the Flying Monkeys. Psychology Today. I'm describing behavioral patterns, not making medical and psychological diagnosis. Number 1, omission plus rage quit plus hypocrisy. He wrote to me, your system can obviously work very well, as you can see in the screenshot. Then 14 days, he rage quit in the same day another Chinese student who got 15 lays, 5 models, 5 white girls, 2 actresses in the marriage. He procreated, he had a daughter. He described himself as having thin skin as he's crashing out. So for online, he flips it. He did not get laid. He didn't poll, that's what he said. But in my view, you cannot rage quit in 2 weeks and claim the system failed. That's hypocrisy. He never seen the digital courses on Elite Bundle Resurrections either. I said in this screenshot. He wanted to start Elite 30, but I didn't let him, as you can see right here highlighted. He only went through Elite Access. I cite it in the screenshots, and I didn't let him start yet. How can he make a fair, objective review on Reddit that is actually a hit piece, in my opinion? Number 2, initial contact. Proof of emotional blindness. First message. I feel like I'm a hard case. Depressed, ghosted, ignored. In his own words. Later in his Reddit rant, he says that he wasn't depressed, that he was gaslit, and I labeled him. That does not sound confident. When someone says hard case, but refuses the drills and to flip their own words, that's typically not coachable in my experience. It fits under unteachable case, not hard case in my opinion. Dismissive narcissistic style, low self-awareness. Number 3, voice playback, emotional disconnect. On the playback, I told him his tone was flat. He replied, I try to mimic Joe Rogan. I guess not. You can see in the screenshots. He literally admitted that he could not hear it himself. In my view, that's emotional blindness, style behavior, not connected to his own tone, no ability to register mistakes. He later spun it as gaslighting, but the evidence show that he said it first. Number 4, progress and quit. Not enough to change habits. He logged in 12 drills only, really bad drills, 17 approaches, which are just less than 10 seconds each approach, across 14 days, 17 approaches with audio over 14 days, where he rage quit because of that Chinese student procreating. I have the chart. As you can see, I logged in all the times that he approached. We could show every screenshot, but there's big gaps, skip check-ins. As he says, he even complained, why do I have to check in every single day, as you can see in the screenshot? In my view, habits don't transform without sporadic effort. Quitting before the foundation even doesn't prove failure. It proves avoidance. Number 5, NDA, $400 goodwill payment, the breach of contract without remorse. He signed a non-disparagement NDA. It took $400 goodwill payment, as you can see in the screenshot, that he ignored it and he made a smear campaign anyways. This posted statement, I believe, are inconsistent with that agreement. It really says that he cannot write a hit piece. Number 6, scope of access, not a full program review. He never started Elite Bundle Resurrections. He got Elite Bundle 2 at a time, and he did not access the digital courses there. His experience was limited to Elite Access. In my opinion, presenting that as a review of my full system is misleading, as you can see in the screenshot. He cannot even start Elite 30. Number 7, supplements, the real deal. His claim was that irresponsible prescriptions. Well, that's false. I don't prescribe anything. These are over-the-counter Amazon available optional over-the-counter items that aren't prescriptions. Only doctors can prescribe. This student never used them. He placed 2 duplicate orders by accident. Both stayed unopened. On the phone, he said that I'd rather get everything from food and worry about side effects because he's a vegetarian. He later reframed this as death by supplements because a student died. In reality, the case he cited involves a lung clot, not a stroke. A stroke is in the brain. This is a different condition entirely when he's referencing alpha GPC. He's trying to make something fit that doesn't fit. His hypocrisy is that he's credited in the vegetarian-themed film that he filmed and produced and wrote called Meatless Barbecue in 2018 while attacking supplements he never tried because he's a vegetarian. Number 8, bans, the truth. He claims that weeks of bans, stuck in a limbo, no coaching. Well, that's false. He only ever had a 3-day accountability ban, as you can see in this screenshot. In reality, I rarely ban students at all. At most, 1 indefinite ban per year. Normal or short, 1 to 2 weeks max. A short reset spun into a smear about permanent bans on Reddit. Number 9, testimonials, straight numbers. His claim was that a few students make up all the testimonials. Well, that's false. During active coaching, each layer pull counts as individual results. For example, they got 8 lays, it'll count as 8 to the number. If a student disappears for months and later reports more results, I log that as 1 additional instance for that student, not 1 per lay. One guy had 12 lays. He came back 4 months later. He took a break, but he has 3 additional lays and he made 3 more video testimonials. But I only count that as a number as 1. A student with 100 lays, he credited my coaching a year later when he came back. It's only recorded as 1, not 100. You did not see a sudden 100 plus lays for the number this year because it's at 667 laid in poll testimonials. It never went up to 767 laid in poll testimonials because I don't count them that way. What is a sociopathic smear campaign and how can you protect yourself? So this is from Psychology Today. Smear campaigns involve manipulation and are often behavior of narcissists. A smear campaign is planned effort to discredit a person or group or tarnish their reputation. Smear campaigns are a form of emotional abuse and they take a tremendous psychological toll on the victim. A smear campaign is a planned effort to discredit a person or group, to undermine their credibility and then tarnish their reputation. Those who launch smear campaigns go to great lengths to spread stories, lies, rumors, and gossip about their victims. Smear campaigns often associate with an online community. So a smear campaign is basically a vendetta or act of retaliation. They are tools of those who can be characterized as vengeful or vindictive, controlling or obsessive. Such individuals are often insecure and emotionally immature. Smear campaigns involve manipulation, and they're often a behavior of a malignant narcissist and those with narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder, which is formerly known as sociopath and psychopath. They are abusers who paint the victim as the abuser because they see themselves as the victim. These people are incapable of taking responsibility or accountability for their actions. They mount smear campaigns to control the narrative and often rewrite history. Smear campaigns amount to character assassination. The individual grooms other people over time to function as allies or followers. They do this by spreading false or exaggerated information about the target. Those recruited by the abuser to actively participate in their manipulation becomes an entourage known as the flying monkeys. These smear tactics won't work on all who are approached. Often they only influence people who are easily manipulated. How sociopaths write smear campaigns. Narcissistic word salad 101. Since I've been through a narcissistic sociopathic smear campaign myself, I know the structure of it. It always runs through 4 stages. Number 1, false accusations. Number 2, guilt trips. Number 3, pain points. Number 4 is circular reasoning. This is called narcissistic sociopath smear campaign. So here's the first article from Psychology Today. Narcissistic word salad, NPD meaning, which stands for narcissistic personality disorder. It is being used as a slang term for a type of narcissistic sociopathic speech that is purposefully confusing. Listeners find narcissistic word salad extremely frustrating because the narcissist sociopath is using circular reasoning, outright lies, denial, or mischaracterizations of past events to avoid being wrong or having to take responsibility for something.